if I'm going to go back to this business that I hate, if I'm going to do that, then I am going to have to change it.
So you get to Kentucky, you've got this new roommate, you've got $1,500, you've got a suitcase, and somehow you come up with the vision of, not only am I going to go back and sell cars, but I'm going to be on a mission to revolutionize the way that it works. Because, I mean, if we can be honest, car sales doesn't have the best reputation, or definitely didn't 10 years ago.
Sure.
People like you are changing that. So where did this mission come from? You had another child, you're getting married. A lot of people would say that, you know, that's a lot to take up your bandwidth, your mental bandwidth right there. But somehow you come up with this mission of, I'm not just going to sell cars again. I'm going to get into it and I'm going to change the world through selling cars. Because I know that having a mission is where it all starts. If you want to have an impact, if you want to really make a difference, you have to treat it like you're on a mission, whatever that is. There's baking cakes or selling cars, whatever. But where did that come from? And like, how did you like stick to it? Because I know so many people are sitting at home on a couch and they're like, I would love to have a mission.
Well, it really came out of, so I blamed the car business for a lot of stuff. Prior to that, I hated the car business. I didn't want anything to do with the car business. I was never going to get back in the car business. And so I spent that first couple of years in Kentucky doing some odd jobs. And then I created my own free poker league. And so I was hanging out in bars and restaurants. I was basically like a karaoke guy, but instead of doing karaoke, I was doing free poker. And I was partying every night, you know, doing all of those things. And that's where I met my wife. She was a bartender at a bar. Well, yeah, I guess she would have to be a bartender at a bar, because otherwise she wouldn't be a bar. Like, where else does a bartender bartend, right? They bartend at bars.
Applebee's?
So I guess. So I met my wife at a bar. She was the bartender, and we ran really fast and really hard, and it wasn't long at all. And she was pregnant 3 months after we met. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I am about to go through the same cycle, and I'm going to lose custody of this kid if I don't make this kid a priority, because I didn't make my other kid a priority and lost custody when she was 6 years old. And so I knew I couldn't do the nightlife free poker thing anymore because I had a kid, and the only thing I really was good at was cars. It was the only thing. I was always really good at it. And so I basically just sat down and wrote out everything that I hated about the car business as an employee. And then I wrote down everything that I hated about the car business as a consumer. And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to go back to this business that I hate, if I'm going to do that, then I am going to have to change it from the inside out so that it can be conducive to me having a good relationship with my wife and my children. And so I don't end up homeless again on the side of a street wanting to kill myself. So really that was my fuel, was fear of going back to that place, that horrible, dreadful, awful place. And so I had to create a system. I had to create something mentally, almost like Jordan talks about in The Last Dance, where he talks about, like, they talk about how he would create mental fuel. And so I had to create mental fuel. If I'm going back in the industry, I'm going to freaking change it from the inside out. I'm going to do the exact opposite of everything on this list. And the only way I would ever be able to do the exact opposite of what was on that list was to get myself into a position of power. And so I started in sales, and then within 4 months, sales manager, and then, not long after, general sales manager, not long after, GM. And all along the way, each level of power, I started implementing more change, more strategy, more change. And I started building soldiers, bro. I'm like, you come with me, bro. We're going to the top. Come on. I'll develop you. I'll pour into you. You're a winner. You're a champion. And just continued surrounding myself with great people as we climbed all the way to the top. And ultimately, we're able to become the second largest used car franchise dealership in the country in a tiny little town, population 9,600. So by doing that, I established a name for myself in the auto industry. A lot of people, paid attention once we were doing big numbers. And that created an opportunity for me to leave that dealership a couple years ago. And now I get to work with dealerships. I'm working with 46 different dealerships currently all across the nation, helping them implement strategies that can help them develop and increase their volume, their profitability, their employee retention, and ultimately the culture in their dealership.